Hello. What's the story of 1 times 1? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mr. Wonderwand, she casts a spell and changes him into a Wonderwand clown. 1 times 1 is 1. What's the story of 1 times 2? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mrs. TwoSqueaks, she casts a spell and changes her into TwoSqueaks clown. 1 times 2 is 2. What's the story of 1 times 3? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mr. ThreeKenstein, she casts a spell and changes him into ThreeKenstein clown. 1 times 3 is 3. What's the story of 1 times 4? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mr. VampFour, she casts a spell and changes him into VampFour clown. 1 times 4 is 4. What's the story of 1 times 5? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mr. FlamingFive, she casts a spell and changes him into FlamingFive clown. 1 times 5 is 5. What's the story of 1 times 6? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mr. ScorpiSix, she casts a spell and changes him into ScorpiSix clown. 1 times 6 is 6. What's the story of 1 times 7? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mrs. RamSeven, she casts a spell and changes her into RamSeven clown. 1 times 7 is 7. What's the story of 1 times 8? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mr. SpookyEight, she casts a spell and changes him into SpookyEight clown. 1 times 8 is 8. What's the story of 1 times 9? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across Mr. SlimyNine, she casts a spell and changes him into SlimyNine Clown. 1 times 9 is 9. What's the story of 1 times 10? Mrs. Wonderwand can't help playing tricks on her friends. When she comes across the MagiTen potion, she casts a spell and changes her into MagiTen Potion Clown. 1 times 10 is 10. Psst, listen, I'm going to tell you a magic trick so that you have fewer things to remember. 2 times 4 is 8, and 4 times 2 is also 8. Whichever way you say it, it is the same result, isn't it? You just need to remember one of the multiplications. And as that trick works with every multiplication, we only have to memorize half of the tables. In mathematics, I'm going to suggest you remember the multiplication that start with the smallest number. For example, with 4 times 2 and 2 times 4, I would always tell the story of 2 times 4, as that is the one that start with the smallest number. So how would you do it if I asked for 4 times 2? You just have to change around the 2 numbers in your head and remember the result of the story of 2 times 4. It's magic, isn't it? Now you just need to practice. What's the story of 2 times 2? When Mrs. TwoSqueaks meets Mr. TwoSqueaks, she invites him to share a magnificent slice of cheese. Mrs. TwoSqueaks nibbles a corner at the bottom, and Mr. TwoSqueaks nibbles a corner at the top. The 2 mice aren't hungry anymore. They put the rest of their meal to one side, which has taken the shape of a 4. 2 times 2 is 4. What's the story of 2 times 3? When the mouse TwoSqueaks sees ThreeKenstein the monster right in front of her, she panics. She runs away and pushes ThreeKenstein as she goes. He falls backwards and a bolt falls out of his head. The twisted bolt takes the shape of a 6. 2 times 3 is 6. What's the story of 2 times 4? When TwoSqueaks sees VampFour disguised as a mouse, she is not so sure, but a gust of wind blows away his false ears in the shape of an 8, and the imposter is revealed. 2 times 4 is 8. What's the story of 2 times 5? When TwoSqueaks comes across FlamingFive, she is so frightened. She runs away as fast as she can. But FlamingFive breathes out an enormous flame and changes the frightened mouse into a boiling hot snail. The head of the snail takes the shape of a 1 and its shell the shape of a 0. 2 times 5 is 10. What's the story of 2 times 6? When TwoSqueaks sees ScorpiSix the scorpion, she is frightened he will sting her. She is terrified and runs away. She scurries down a mouse hole and hides behind a wall in the shape of a 1. Oof, TwoSqueaks is safe at last. 2 times 6 is 12. What's the story of 2 times 7? Great, it's Christmas. TwoSqueaks and RamSeven decide to give each other a present. TwoSqueaks, judging by the lovely smell, thinks her present is a cheese. She loves cheese. RamSeven would like to get a sock. Hers are all so old. They both open their presents, but TwoSqueaks has got a sock in the shape of a 1. She is so disappointed, she throws it away. As for RamSeven, she finds an old piece of cheese in the shape of a 4. She throws it away too. A very Merry Christmas. 2 times 7 is 14. What's the story of 2 times 8? When TwoSqueaks is surprised by the wailing of SpookyEight, the ghost, she gives a little shriek. This wakes up a cat who was sleeping in a dustbin. When she sees the cat, she yells even louder. The ghost has found someone scarier than him. The dustbin and its lid make a 1. The cat and its tail make a 6. 2 times 8 is 16. What's the story of 2 times 9? When TwoSqueaks meets her friend SlimyNine, she is delighted to have a chat. But the two friends are petrified. When the hook of a fishing rod catches SlimyNine in his neck. And worst of all, at the end of the fishing rod is a horrible piranha. The fishing rod is in the shape of a 1, and the fish is in the shape of an 8. 2 times 9 is 18. What's the story of 2 times 10? When TwoSqueaks meets the potion MagiTen, it makes her very, very hungry. She dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. She gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 2 times 10 is 20. What's the story of 3 times 3? Little ThreeKenstein loves jumping in big muddy puddles. But Mummy ThreeKenstein really doesn't like him doing it, but not at all. She immediately dashes to get the shower. In the form of a 9. Here, Operation Washdown can start. 3 times 3 is 9. What's the story of 3 times 4? ThreeKenstein is a bit scared of VampFour's bite. And one day he does bite his head. ThreeKenstein's metal hair stands up on end, comes completely unstuck, and flies across to stick on VampFour's head. One of the vampire's own hairs sticks up straight. To get his own back on VampFour, ThreeKenstein pulls out this hair and throws it away. The top of the head is shaped as a 1, and the hair is shaped as a 2. 3 times 4 is 12. What's the story of 3 times 5? When ThreeKenstein meets Baby FlamingFive, he can expect to have the worst tricks played on him. Baby FlamingFive pulls out a big hammer and delights in banging nails into ThreeKenstein's head. Luckily for ThreeKenstein, Daddy FlamingFive arrives and takes away the hammer in the shape of a 1. 3 times 5 is 15. What's the story of 3 times 6? When ThreeKenstein meets ScorpiSix, the Joker, he expects the worst. ScorpiSix does indeed have a new idea to tease poor ThreeKenstein. He stings him and shakes him like a bottle of soda. The pressure blows the top of ThreeKenstein's head off in the shape of a 1. Followed closely by his brain springing out in the shape of an 8. Yuck. 3 times 6 is 18. What's the story of 3 times 7? When ThreeKenstein tries to repair himself by readjusting the nails on his head, he drops the hammer on RamSeven's foot, who howls in pain. ThreeKenstein sheepishly uncovers the mummy's injured toe and throws away the strip of bandage in the shape of a 2. The mummy snatches up the hammer, shows ThreeKenstein how to hammer a nail, and throws away the tool shaped like a 1. DIY can really drive you nuts. 3 times 7 is 21. What's the story of 3 times 8? ThreeKenstein is cleaning his ears with a crank candle. But SpookyEight, the ghost, makes him jump, and he hurts himself with the tool. Furious, he throws down the crank candle. It lands on the SpookyEight's chain and stops him from moving. SpookyEight pulls as hard as he can to get free. He finally manages to break the chain in the shape of a 2, which whisks away the crank candle in the shape of a 4. 3 times 8 is 24. What's the story of 3 times 9? ThreeKenstein is asthmatic and hates it when SlimyNine cleans everything from top to bottom. A large cloud of dust makes him sneeze. He sneezes so hard that he blows out a spring in the shape of a 2, which flies through the air and breaks the rungs of the ladder. SlimyNine loses his balance and falls off the ladder onto the ground in the shape of a 7. 3 times 9 is 27. What's the story of 3 times 10? When ThreeKenstein meets the potion MagiTen, it makes him very, very hungry. He dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. He gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 3 times 10 is 30. What's the story of 4 times 4? When Mr. VampFour wants some fresh blood, he pretends to fall over. Mrs. VampFour comes to his aid with her nurse's equipment and with a fresh bag of blood. There's nothing like a little snack to bring you back to health. Mr. VampFour brings out a straw in the shape of a 1 to sip from the bag of blood, which is in the shape of a 6. Drink up. 4 times 4 is 16. What's the story of 4 times 5? VampFour isn't very good with matches. He tries as hard as he can to strike them, but he can never do it. Suddenly, FlamingFive arrives, and VampFour has an idea. He bites the dragon's tail, who breathes out an enormous flame in the shape of a 2. At last, Mr. VampFour's pumpkin, which is in the shape of a 0, is finally alight. 4 times 5 is 20. What's the story of 4 times 6? When VampFour sees ScorpiSix's tasty tail, he can't help taking a bite out of it. Furiously, ScorpiSix hits him with his tail. VampFour flies through the air and lands on a tombstone, which he breaks in the shape of a 2. 4 times 6 is 24. What's the story of 4 times 7? When VampFour sees the mummy RamSeven, he can't help biting her. But he only manages to take a bite out of the mummy's handbag. She is so angry. She rears up and hits VampFour on the head, spilling everything in her bag. A fine banknote in the shape of a 2, and several coins which pile up in the shape of an 8. We have an economic issue. 4 times 7 is 28. What's the story of 4 times 8? When VampFour sees a chain of SpookyEight the ghost, he can't help trying to bite it. SpookyEight won't stand for that and tugs hard on his chain. VampFour resists and pulls as hard as he can, until suddenly the chain breaks. The vampire's teeth in the shape of a 3 are pulled out by the piece of chain in the shape of a 2. 4 times 8 is 32. What's the story of 4 times 9? When VampFour sees SlimyNine, he really wants to bite him. But SlimyNine whistles to get the help of his friend the caterpillar. The caterpillar, which is in the shape of a 3, pulls out a clove of garlic in the shape of a 6. Oh no, garlic. Like all vampires, VampFour hates garlic. 4 times 9 is 36. What's the story of 4 times 10? When VampFour meets the potion MagiTen, it makes him very, very hungry. He dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. He gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 4 times 10 is 40. What's the story of 5 times 5? When Daddy FlamingFive wants to play with his little boy, he throws him up in the air using his big tummy. Little FlamingFive has a wonderful slide on a super toboggan in the shape of a 2. 5 times 5 is 25. What's the story of 5 times 6? When FlamingFive sees ScorpiSix going by, he wants to tame him. He gets out his whip and he cracks it in the shape of a 3 and breathes out a flame to light the magnificent ring of fire in the shape of a 0. Aha! So who's the strongest now? 5 times 6 is 30. What's the story of 5 times 7? Mr. FlamingFive is invited to the mummy RamSeven's birthday party. As usual, he always wants to light the candles. Very proudly, he takes a deep breath and blows such a big flame that it burns everything in its way. The mummy, the cake, and even Mrs. FlamingFive's horns, which are in the shape of a 3. She is so angry, she shows them to her husband. 5 times 7 is 35. What's the story of 5 times 8? When baby FlamingFive is suddenly frightened by SpookyEight the ghost, he jumps and gives a little fart. The smell makes the ghost feel unwell and attracts a fly. FlamingFive brings out his fly swatter and, trying to hit the fly, he hits SpookyEight instead and flattens him like a pancake. Baby FlamingFive throws away his broken fly swatter in the shape of a 4 and breathes some hot air to bring the poor ghost round. But he breathes so hard, the SpookyEight gets bigger and bigger and bigger, like a ball in the shape of a 0. 5 times 8 is 40. What's the story of 5 times 9? When FlamingFive meets SlimyNine at dinner time, the meal is right there. He hurries to breathe out a beautiful flame to light the barbecue in the shape of a 4 that Mrs. FlamingFive has prepared. Dinner's ready. 5 times 9 is 45. What's the story of 5 times 10? When FlamingFive meets the potion MagiTen, it makes him very, very hungry. He dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. He gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 5 times 10 is 50. What's the story of 6 times 6? When Mr. ScorpiSix meets Mrs. ScorpiSix, they give each other a big kiss, and a heart flies out. As it touches the ground, the heart breaks in the shape of a 3, and an adorable baby ScorpiSix appears. 6 times 6 is 36. What's the story of 6 times 7? When ScorpiSix meets the mummy RamSeven, he pulls on her bandages with his stinging tail and changes the poor mummy into a spinning top. Very pleased with the trick he has just played, he laughs very loudly. Then, seeing a beautiful cactus in the shape of a 4, ScorpiSix throws the bandages onto it. They stick on in the shape of a 2. 6 times 7 is 42. What's the story of 6 times 8? When ScorpiSix meets SpookyEight, he can't help playing a trick on him and lifts up his sheet. Poor SpookyEight suddenly feels a draft. Feeling very embarrassed, he hides behind a cactus in the shape of a 4 and makes himself some clothes out of thorns and flowers. SpookyEight has regained his shape of an 8. 6 times 8 is 48. What's the story of 6 times 9? When ScorpiSix meets SlimyNine, he wants to sting him with his tail. But SlimyNine is quicker and hides under the ground. ScorpiSix doesn't give up though and tries to reach him at the end of his tunnel. But he comes out with something hanging off his tail. It is a cow's skull in the shape of a 5. He is very disappointed and gets rid of it behind a cactus in the shape of a 4. 6 times 9 is 54. What's the story of 6 times 10? When ScorpiSix meets the potion MagiTen, it makes him very, very hungry. He dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. He gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 6 times 10 is 60. What's the story of 7 times 7? It's the new year. Granny RamSeven and Grandpa RamSeven are having a party. Grandpa wants to play a trick on Granny. He blows his party trumpet right in her ear. Granny RamSeven is so surprised, she loses her hat in the shape of a 4. She angrily seizes Grandpa's toy, which is in the shape of a 9, and gets rid of it once and for all. Come on, the party's over. Time for bed. 7 times 7 is 49. What's the story of 7 times 8? The mummy RamSeven wants to catch a beautiful ibis with her net. But SpookyEight the ghost arrives and frightens both the mummy and the bird. The net lands on the ghost's head, and the ibis flies down in the shape of a 5. SpookyEight takes off the net, which is in the shape of a 6, and throws it away. The mummy is furious that her hunting expedition has been spoiled. 7 times 8 is 56. What's the story of 7 times 9? It's tea time. Mummy RamSeven comes to give a cup of tea to her friend SlimyNine. But she trips and breaks her teapot. Hearing the noise, SlimyNine appears and goes to search in his burrow. He comes back with a very dusty teapot. He gives it a rub to make it clean. But what a surprise! It isn't a teapot, it's an old magic lamp in the shape of a 6. And from it springs a genie in the shape of a 3. 7 times 9 is 63. What's the story of 7 times 10? When RamSeven meets the potion MagiTen, it makes her very, very hungry. She dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. She gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 7 times 10 is 70. What's the story of 8 times 8? Daddy SpookyEight and little SpookyEight love playing football. Daddy SpookyEight encourages little SpookyEight, who kicks his ball and... Whoops! The ball and chain land in the shape of a 6, right on Mummy's beautiful vase, which smashes in the shape of a 4. Oh, shackles. 8 times 8 is 64. What's the story of 8 times 9? When SpookyEight the ghost sees SlimyNine, he rushes to give him a fright. SlimyNine jumps and bumps into a set of armour in the shape of a 7, which loses an arm in the shape of a 2. 8 times 9 is 72. What's the story of 8 times 10? When SpookyEight meets the potion MagiTen, it makes him very, very hungry. He dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. He gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 8 times 10 is 80. What's the story of 9 times 9? Mr. SlimyNine and Mrs. SlimyNine have just got up, and it's another lovely day. But Mrs. Frog invites herself to breakfast. Mr. SlimyNine and Mrs. SlimyNine are quickly swallowed. The frog is in the shape of an 8, and its long tongue in the shape of a 1. 9 times 9 is 81. What's the story of 9 times 10? When SlimyNine meets the potion MagiTen, it makes him very, very hungry. He dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. He gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 9 times 10 is 90. What's the story of 10 times 10? When the potion MagiTen meets another one, it makes her very, very hungry. She dives headfirst into the cauldron and comes out feeling very full. She gives an enormous magic burp and blows a bubble in the shape of a 0. 10 times 10 is 100.